Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your morning send-off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So today we are at day 3 of seasonal support, and the way I'm focusing these rise and receives for the last 10 weekdays of 2020 is really with a focus on providing support during this time of year, which can be particularly challenging for some. And in 2020, whether you have your own personal associations with this season, the holiday season, the end of the year, or 2020 in particular has brought challenges for you, these rise and receives are really designed to provide extra support. And so I've chosen some particular topics for people who might be struggling. In this particular season for myself, I'm feeling particularly blessed and grateful and fortunate. And yet I have had some really painful holiday seasons in my past that were really rough and challenging, and I just wanted them to be over with. And so I have tremendous compassion for anyone who has some challenge this time of year. And that's what the focus is for the wrap up of Rise and Receive for 2020 as we move into 2021. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller, and I am passionate about teaching a very specific skill set known as receiving. I have discovered over more than 2 decades of coaching that a lot of people just don't know how to receive. What we know how to do is how to work hard for the things that we want, so much so that we'll just keep working hard and pursuing what we want. And then when we don't receive those things, whether they're experiences or manifestations, and we stop to wonder what's missing, which is usually the receiving skill set, we just do more of what we know, which is to work harder. And so we have developed this over-reliance on what I call the doing model of power, and we have a malnourished relationship with the being model of power. And the truth is that once you learn the being model of power, you start to unlearn struggle, and receiving your joyful fulfillment just starts to happen with tremendous ease and grace that you've probably been longing for. So that's what we illuminate here. And if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and that's what I'm here to offer people and in my way of being of service. So what I do each morning is I pull one card from my brand new Receive Oracle card deck. It has a message that illuminates receiving principles, and then I use that as inspiration for the Rise and Receive. And then I'll give you a willingness mantra, which activates the power of invitation, which is the counterbalance to intention. Intention being the doing model of power, invitation is the being model of power. So today we're going to talk about how to soothe your loss. So if this time of year is really activating sadness or grief, or you're really connecting to loss, whether it's your own personal history this time of year, or whether it's what 2020 has represented for you, I'm going to read you the entire card because it's such a powerful message. And if you really feel like you want to receive even more around this concept, I'll include a link to an earlier video I did on the same card so that you can really nourish yourself around any loss that you may be experiencing or connecting with right now. So I invite you to sit back. You can close your eyes, let these words wash over you, and just know that you're going to be receiving what you need to receive today. So here we go. Soothe your loss. Deep breath. There's not a soul who escapes the experience of loss. Every being comes to know it one way or another. And while it's common to all of life, the experience of loss is a personal and intimate one, as personal and intimate as anything can be. We experience loss in small and enormous ways. The loss of an opportunity to say or do something. The loss of how you thought things would turn out. the loss of a beloved friend or companion, the loss of that singularly special person or creature that held a place in your life like no other, the loss of home or sense of belonging, the loss of your youth or your innocence, the loss of a feeling, whether it is your sense of peace, certainty, security, vitality, strength, passion, inspiration, or something else, the loss of your dream, the loss of familiarity, routines, and comfort, the loss of the life that you knew, the loss of your identity. Whatever your loss, it must be honored and respected. While all change includes an element of loss, how much we struggle depends on how attached we are to the thing we must release or how important it is to us. Some amount of struggle is natural to loss. This is because whenever life changes form, there is tension and friction between that which is giving way and that which is emerging. We struggle as we try to find peace by making things whole again, by somehow willing things to go back to the way they were, or the way we think they are supposed to be. However, loss by definition is about letting go of something you don't want to let go of. And when grief comes, a crack of acceptance begins to reveal itself. This crack can allow light to show us a path towards healing. The tears and acceptance make space to receive the kindness that life always offers. We begin to find our way to soothing when we become willing to accept that things will never be the same, when we recognize that something has indeed died, when we become able to name the unnamed death, when we find a place for that loss to have a home in our hearts. Sooner or later, relief begins to visit when we understand that the loss becomes a part of us. It may live as a memory or a scar that may flare up on occasion. And we become more and more able to nurture and soothe the loss as we understand that healing doesn't mean we will never feel loss again. It means that we are willing to find a way to live with the experience as part of the fabric of our lives. And when it hurts, it's a call for more love, not less. So take a breath. Let that land. And if you want to, come back and re-listen to this as often as you like. So if you are feeling a connection to loss right now, here's the willingness mantra I want to give you for the day. And just say it to yourself or out loud as often as you need to. It's a way of being soothing and gentle with yourself around loss. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. So something that really stands out for me today as I've been thinking about what I'd like to offer you around soothing your loss is this. A very common human reaction to loss is that voice or that feeling of, when's this going to go away? When am I going to be over it? And there are some losses in our lives that we never get over. And it's really important to give yourself permission, be willing to open up to this idea, this perspective, because just accepting that some losses we never get over, having permission to, as this card says, find a home in your heart for the loss, which is such an essential part of what we talk about in receiving, is to let it be here. Part of receiving is learning to receive everything as sacred, learning to become unselective. And simply by letting it be here, so much of the pain can soften, because the pain comes from resisting it. Where your attention goes, the energy flows. What you resist persists. So let me give you another way of looking at this idea of, instead of trying to get rid of it once and for all, to find a home in your heart for it. To let it be here even during the holiday season. To give it permission to be a part of the fabric of your life. And how that can actually soothe the loss. Okay, so here's the idea I want to offer. Life occupies space. Life. Whatever life gives you, whether it's good, whether you think it's bad, whether it feels wonderful, whether it feels horrible, life occupies space. Okay, now, if you don't make room for what life is giving you, the pain when something is difficult will be more prominent, because it's almost like it's pushing its way into the space, and so it's like a growing pain. There's almost going to be a feeling of like it's imposing on you. It's taking up space against your will. You don't want it to be here. That's the resistance, okay? But when you make room for life, the pain can be here, but there's also space for other things, and blessings can come. And a really great analogy that came to me, I talk a lot about the being model of power is represented by the majestic tree. Imagine that a tree has a root system of some kind of seed, has found its way in through a crack in the sidewalk. Now, life has put that tree there, that planting, that seed sprout. Okay, if you don't make room for that tree, it's going to push its way as it grows, because this is life. Life occupies space. It's going to push up through that sidewalk. That sidewalk, we've all seen those sidewalks, starts to like bubble and crack and crack. Imagine that sidewalk is our lives, all right? If we don't make room for that tree, what life is giving us, those cracks are going to hurt. That pushing through what is already here through force, that pain is going to be more prominent. But let's say you decide to get some equipment and make space for that tree and pull away the sidewalk and get permission from the city to create a big space for that tree to grow. Not only will you be able to create some beautiful landscaping around the tree instead of it bubbling up the sidewalk and pushing into your yard, right? You can create space for the tree. The tree is going to grow in all of its majestic beauty. And now there's going to be room to enjoy the tree and all of the flowers and all of the fruit that comes with it. There's room for the tree. There was room for the pain. And there's room for everything else that life is bringing through that tree. That's what happens when you make room and space for pain or loss in your life. Yes, it hurts. But when you let it land, let it have space, breathe into it, find a home in your heart as best you can. Just let it be here. There will be a spaciousness where you can also receive blessings and see them and receive them into your experience. And the pain starts to soften because you're not battling it. There's room for more than just the pain. So that's what I wanted to offer you today. Here's your willingness mantra again, if this is something that relates to you. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. I am willing to receive more love, not less, as I honor my loss. So if this was helpful to you, if you can think of anyone who might need to hear this message, I hope that you will like and share. If you're on YouTube, please click the red subscribe button if you'd like to be notified when I release other videos. Helps me get the word out. And a couple recommended resources for you if this is something that you want to go deeper with. You can sign up for your own early bird list. Place on the list for the cards. They're coming out in the new year, and we're very close to being able to launch the grand opening for pre-orders. Go to RECEIVE-Card-Deck.com to get your own Receive Oracle card deck. If you would like to be supported in a really easy, powerful way to start receiving now by making space for you, 15 minutes a day, consider joining the 30-day challenge. Go to RECEIVE-Challenge.com and you'll learn all about that. You'll receive an email from me every day for 30 days. They're 3 to 12 minutes long, mostly in the 3 to 5 minute. You take 15 minutes a day, just press play and watch the receiving unfold. And if you'd like to go deeper and you'd like to learn about this piece about receiving your needs in order to receive your wants, the nurturing component that allows you to become a fortunate receiver, because that really is the bottom line. If you don't receive your needs, you cannot receive your wants. If you don't receive the don't wants of life, you cannot receive the do wants. Anytime you resist life, it blocks the flow. So we learn to become fortunate receivers, unselective and nurturing, which really expands your natural self-worth, amplifies and just blossoms the receiving in your life. If you want to learn about that, then consider joining me for the Feel Worthy program that starts in January. It's a live group coaching program. Go to feelworthyprogram.com and I'm happy to answer any questions. It's limited to 20 people. We have 7 spaces left. Have a great rest of your day and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.